all the number crew needs you.
In Scotland there are three main types of dancing. There's Highland dancing, and I'm wearing the outfit that you would associate with a traditional Highland dancer, and those are the Highland Fling, the sword dance, the reel, dances that you would normally see danced at Highland Games. There's Scottish country dancing, for example, Strip the Willow, the Dashing White Sergeant, Gay Gordons. These dances are normally danced in social settings such as weddings or social dances. And there's step dancing.
This was a dance that was danced in Scotland hundreds of years ago until quite recently. And now there's a big revival. Lots of people are learning how to do step dancing.
And when people danced these dances, they didn't wear special shoes or anything. They just wore the shoes that they had on. Or in summertime, sometimes they danced with no shoes at all, just in their bare feet. And they maybe have a ceilidh in the house, or you might go out to a village hall or a dance and have a dance there with some other people.
And it wasn't a very organised form of dance at the beginning. It was just something that was a kind of extension of somebody just tapping their feet. And they would dance in the kitchen, and then they would be inspired by the music and start to dance, maybe stand up. And there wasn't much room, so they would just dance in a very, very small space. And then eventually, more and more people learned to do this dance, and they started to have different steps that people are all learning today.
And we dance these dances to two tunes. There's a strathspey, which is always a tune in two parts, and the first bit repeats itself, and the second bit repeats itself. And the strathspey is always followed by the reel, and these two tunes are very different. When you dance the strathspey, it's very jumpy. It's always, you know, you're jumping off the ground, and it's maybe a bit more showy than the reel, which is very close to the floor and has lots of shuffles and everything in it. And the music's different as well.
Yeah, the rhythm of the strathspey, the music that's played, is very different from the reel. It has this kind of pulse going through it. Can any of you do this kind of rhythm which goes through the strathspey? Yeah, it's an on pulse the whole way through, a relentless beat that's going through the whole tune. I'll give you an example on the fiddle and see if you can clap along.
It sounds almost like a horse, kind of galloping. The reel, on the other hand, is very different. Do you play one tiny bit of the reel again? Can you clap along to that one?
The strathspey and the reel are played at a similar tempo or speed, although it may sound that the reel is played a bit faster because it's more of a running kind of rhythm. And the speed of the tune was just decided by the fiddler who was watching the dancer, and he would never play too fast so that the dancer couldn't keep up with what the fiddler was playing.
Now we're going to sing a strathspey. You all know a song, don't you? What song? Yeah. Brochen Lamb.
Oh, broken lamb, tell a lamb, broken lamb was suing. Broken lamb, tell a lamb, broken lamb was suing. Broken lamb, tell a lamb, broken lamb was suing. She broke the lamb, she tell a lamb, she broke the lamb was suing. Broken tana, 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 broken lamb was suing. Broken tana, 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 broken lamb was suing. Broken tana, 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 broken lamb was suing. She broke the lamb, she tell a lamb, she broke the lamb was suing. Broken lamb, tell a lamb, broken lamb was suing. Broken lamb, tell a lamb, broken lamb was suing. Broken lamb, tell a lamb, broken lamb was suing. She broke the lamb, she tell a lamb, she broke the lamb was suing.
With the jig, it has a 6/8 timing, and there's a certain step that goes with that timing. But first, I'll play for you what a jig sounds like on the violin. That's a very popular jig, and you would play that phrase twice, and that would give you your A turn, and then there's a B turn, a second part to that tune that you would play, and then you'd repeat that whole phrase again. And you would probably play 3 or 4 jigs to make up the first figure of a square set. And the first and second figure of a square set, they're both done to the jigs. So a jig step, which is very, very common, and pretty much everyone in Cape Breton can do a jig step, it's called the shuffle, and it goes like this. Basically making 6 beats with your feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Similarly to the jig, you would play a series of reels to take you through the third figure of a square set, or to take you through someone's solo performance. So you can hear the rhythm of that is different than the jig, and therefore the dance is different as well.